Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with the Christmas All Year Long series for Scrapping for Less. Today I'm going to be making a few cards using Newton's Nook. What is the name of this? Naughty or Mice. Mice are probably one of my favorite things to color. I don't know, I have a lot of mice, I realized after someone actually pointed it out to me, but I have little mice all over my house, little knickknacks and that type of stuff. I just apparently really like them, but I just think my mice are super cute. So for these cards, I'm going to be using, like I said, the Naughty or Mice Newton's Nook Design stamp set. I stamped them with some Hero Arts Intense Black ink because they're good for alcohol markers and Copic coloring. And I showed you there, those are the colors that I'm going to be using. I tried to keep this kind of simple and not end up using a ton of different colors with this, and kind of keep it on the same color scheme for the different ones. And I didn't end up coloring all of these, but once I did finish the coloring that I was going to do, I used my scan and cut to cut all of these images out. I even cut out the non-colored ones, and I figured I will either color them, maybe stick a glue behind it when I'm coloring it or something, or some removable tape or repositionable tape when I'm coloring it, just because I had it all set up and I figured just why not, instead of trying to just cut a couple out and then have half of them on a weird shaped paper anyway. So the other thing I'm using with these cards is a 6x6 paper pad. It's called Here Comes Santa by Becky Fleck. It's from Photo Play, and it has some really adorable papers that come with this set. And I'll kind of go through all of them in a minute when we get up to that point. I kept these pretty simple as I was making these cards. I didn't get into a ton of detail. I kind of let the papers speak for themselves and just had the little mice. Now for the little mice, I did use the two different tones of gray, the cool and the warm grays. For two of them I used the warm grays, and for one of them I used the cool gray, just to give them a little bit, just to make them look a little bit different so that everyone doesn't look exactly the same. Not that they're going to be going to the same people and they would know anyway, but just for myself, so I wanted them to look that way. And I guess that in the end, that's really why we're doing this, is because we like to do the crafting and we want it to look a certain way. Now I will say one thing, these papers are really busy, and I will say that I had some trouble thinking about what I wanted to do and how to still make the images themselves stand out so that they were still kind of a focal point of the card and not just the papers. Even though the papers are super adorable and really cute, and I definitely wanted that to be seen, I just wanted the focal points to be the little mice. And so I ended up putting them on backgrounds, kind of either solid color background, like one I did just white, and the other two I put on just kind of a green, and it's not a solid background, but it is definitely more solid. But as you can see there, I think they kind of get lost in the papers if you don't have something behind them. And I was just kind of going through all the different papers and deciding, what I wanted to use, and I cut out some of the strips on there. And like I said, these card designs are pretty simple. There's not really anything fancy. I have that Holly Jolly sitting there pretty much the entire time, and I end up not even using it. I go back and forth, and I really liked it, and I wanted to use it, and I cut it, and I used my crocodile, but it just wasn't working the way I wanted it to work. I don't know, the colors just weren't what exactly I was going for, I guess. But I will definitely be using that on other cards. But like I said, I just thought it was super cute and I wanted to keep using it, but I just couldn't figure something out. So here I am just kind of picking out my card bases. On two of them I end up using reds. One's a darker red, one's kind of more of a Christmas red, and then the other one I used a craft card. I know on a couple of my other ones I have that scalloped craft cards that I picked up from somewhere. I don't even know where, but I picked them up, and they're a larger card, so I just cut them down to the A2 size cards, because all of these are A2 size note cards. So they're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And then for all of the panels, I cut them down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And on a lot of these, for the sentiment, I used Not a Creature Was Stirring. I cut that down with my crocodile just to round out the edges. And then even on the banner, I decided to round out the edge. Instead of making it like an actual banner, I just rounded out the edge because I wanted the sentiment to go across and to kind of fit in the place of there. And so that red and white piece, I just end up kind of rounding out so that it kind of matches with the sentiment that I had. And then I just kind of piece them together. For this one, I do end up popping up the sentiment with a little bit of foam tape, as well as I use some foam dots on the circle that I have the little mouse on. And that was kind of a plaid color, plaid design on the paper that I used, but like I said, it was still more of a solid looking color. And then I end up using kind of the stripe in it to kind of have the base kind of like that's where he's standing. And then I just pop that on there. I do end up stamping a sentiment on the inside of this one. So the front says Not a Creature Was Stirring, and then the inside it says Merry Christmas. The next card, I think this is just adorable. So they have one of the pieces in there you can cut out. It says Santa's watching, and it kind of has Santa peeping over like an oval shape there that kind of looks like, you know, he's looking at something. And I thought this little mouse tying up this present was just adorable, and like Santa's watching him be nice. And I just thought that was adorable. And what I ended up doing was rounding out all of the edges with my crocodile of the card base, the card panel, the panel that says the Santa is watching. So all 3 of them, I rounded out that edge. And then on the inside of this one, I stamped Naughty or Mice, because Santa is watching, so something has to be naughty or mice. I thought that was really, really cute. And then for the last one, I use Squeakson's Greetings is the sentiment that I used on the front, and I did not put a sentiment on this one. And like I said, this is where I decided I wasn't going to use that Holly Jolly. I was just going to use something different because I really wanted, like I said, I was having trouble with the images really standing out. So I ended up putting the mouse just on a white background and then kind of layering that up, and I rounded out those edges as well for that panel. And like I said, I just keep going back and forth and trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and what was going to make the most sense, and which way I wanted the banners to go. Like I said, this one I was just having trouble with that little mouse, and I think it's so cute. Like I said, I wanted it to really kind of stand out. So this is kind of where I decided to use that checkered pattern to get a piece of white and just kind of cut it down. And then position all of these. And this background paper is, they're all different Santas, just, you know, doing different things, like when he's checking a list, when he's holding something, and when he's just kind of standing there. So I just think that's super cute. And that's the panel. So like I said, just the 2 little panels that I stuck on the front that I rounded out. I didn't round out the card itself or the front panel of that card. And those are the 3. I do end up getting some sequins out and putting some sequins on them. And that is pretty much it for these. Once I finished up putting these sequins on, I went back and forth if I should use something else or maybe put something else on there, but I kind of liked the thought of keeping this simple. You know, every Christmas card, I'm sure a lot of people send out quite a few Christmas cards, and you don't want every Christmas card to take you 2 hours. So these are the cards that I made for this month's series for Christmas all year long. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and make sure you check back next month for some more. Thank you. Everybody take care.